highlight local and global events and organizations serving their community. I am Lindsay Deming, Communications Coordinator at The Well, and today I have Well member Jim Behm with me. Jim, thank you so much for being on. It's great you could join us for the Local to Global podcast.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Enjoying the weather.
Yes. Oh, it's finally, cooling down a little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite in those upper 90s, but yeah, we're doing well. Today we're going to chat about Encore, which stands for United Methodist Committee on Relief, and how the Well has been involved in this mission. Encore is a global effort to connect people to missions across the world, including global health, education, hunger, poverty, disaster, recovery response, which you've been involved in the past. But before we go into your efforts, can you give us a short background on how long you've been at the Well and a few of the ministries you've been involved in?
Let's see. I think we joined back in 2000 or so, someplace around there. 95. Oh, my wife just corrected me. She's on the back side here. And
Perfect.
We joined in 1995, apparently.
Oh, thank you.
So we've been here a long time. I was with the choir for a while, and then got more involved with the youth. And so I have been doing the youth here at the Well for almost too many years, I think, and still continue to today.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about your involvement with Umcor. Do you want to give us a little synopsis about how you got involved with that?
I can't remember who it was, but somebody had mentioned that Umcor likes to go out and do recovery situations where people have been flooded and so forth. And so I heard about it, and you go through a 2-day training, and at the end of the 2 days, you get this nice little badge you see here.
Oh, I like that badge.
And then you have to go through the safe gatherings to make sure that you're not abusing people and all the rest of that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've been on 3 different deployments, and basically what the purpose of the recovery team is not to construct, but to clean up. Okay. And so I went down to Dodge County back in July of 2019. I had to look this stuff up, by the way.
That's okay. That's how we remember it.
And that was when they had a flood that came through, and it wasn't so much the flood damage, but the sewer systems also backed up.
Okay.
And so we went to one of the houses where the house was up on top of the hill next to the courthouse.
Oh, wow.
And, there's no way anything should have happened, but the whole system backed up. Her husband was in the hospital with a heart attack, and she opened the door to the basement and smelled something horrible.
Oh, wow.
And so when we got there, the first team had gone in and done the brute force stuff of, mopping up most of it. Mm-hmm. And basically what we did is we had a crew of about 6 people, and there was still some additional cleanup, but mostly we were tearing out walls, and, all the sheetrock and all of the paneling and everything else that is involved has to come out. And so, yeah, it's dirty, filthy work. Mm-hmm. But it's very rewarding when you see these people that have no means to pay for it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the team comes in and does an awful lot of hard work, and it's very rewarding. The community really supports it because, they provide a place to sleep. It's usually at a church, and they bring more food than you can ever possibly eat. You get up in the morning and they've already got the coffee and the sweet rolls and everything waiting for you. It's just, it's an experience that I think everyone should give a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of fun.
So let me back up just a little bit. The disaster relief that you're talking about is actually part of what we're doing this month at the Well, which is fantastic. We are collecting supplies to create tornado kits that right. Encore is collecting and distributing in July. So these kits, just for our listeners and our viewers, these kits include work gloves, markers, colored duct tape, trash bags, more. Anyone who's listening can find these items on our website, which is thewellmn.church, or our social media pages.
Right.
So, Jim, going back to, you talked about how it's rewarding. How has being involved with Encore really impacted you personally? And then after you talk about that, why don't you give our listeners kind of an idea of how they can personally get involved?
For me, the the reward, of course, is seeing the reaction of the people and the people that you get to work with, because they really, everybody is kind of in the same boat. You see the disaster out there and you look at it, and I'm not sure how many times I've been involved in a project. You take a look from the outside, you go, I'm never going to get anything done here. You just,
Yeah.
it's just overwhelming. And once you get involved with it, everybody kind of pitches in. And we went to another house that the lady was a crafter, and her entire basement was full of scraps of material and little dolls and all this nonsense.
Oh.
And the whole basement was flooded. And so she was trying to salvage as much of this as she could. But you walk in there and you look around and you say, this is never going to get done. What can we possibly do? And everybody just kind of starts pitching in, and a little bit here, a little bit there. We tore out a window so we could haul all the sheetrock out through the window instead of coming up through the steps and trashing the rest of the house.
Oh, yeah.
And so, the benefit is just tremendous as far as the satisfaction. And, it gives you the confidence that, yeah, okay, with a little bit of help, yeah, you can step back, take another look at the project and get it done.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do.
Absolutely.
When we've gone out, we have the Encore team, the recovery team has 2 trailers, and the trailers are full of all the essentials that we need. And so as far as face masks and rubber gloves and all the rest of that stuff, we have been tearing out a lot of really wet insulation. And so you've got your gloves on and you got long sleeves and all the rest of that. So it's a lot of hard work, but the benefit is there, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we encourage people to get involved with Umcor if they want to, the multiple ways you can do it, supplies, donations, or actually getting involved with the disaster relief?
I think, for us, the trailer is what we've been using, but when we get there, we have seen a lot of times where, the buckets are there and people are using everything they can to try and clean up. The early response team that we're a part of, you can go through Umcor and you can just search on the early response team. They do have occasional trainings. And then what happens is the Umcor team gets invited to a site. And so
Okay.
when the flooding happens down south, the team has gone to, Katrina when it went through. You don't go down immediately afterward, but it's usually 3 to 6 months later
Mm-hmm.
where they go in and they actually start doing the cleanup, because the initial response for these people is just a shock. There's nothing
Right.
you can do. And so when it comes time to step back and really look, this is how. So getting involved with the team, the training is they don't push you beyond what your ability is. We are not allowed to run out there with chainsaws and start cutting down trees and everything for people. I did go up to Duluth after one of the windstorms went through, and we went through and hauled, I can't even count how many trailers full of trees and bushes that were already cut down, and hauled them down to the recycle center. I mean, the guys knew us pretty well after about the 3rd trip through.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, Jim, for giving us a little peek into Umcor. I would encourage, again, our listeners and our viewers to head over to our website, take a peek at this. You can also visit Umcor's website. We'll put a link to that in our podcast notes. And for anyone who wants to help the well assemble the tornado kits, there will be a table set up between services on the last Sunday of this month, which is the 27th, with all the supplies in an assembly line. And our goal is to assemble 40 kits. So
should be no problem.
Yeah, so head to our website, thewellmn.church, for more information, or you can find the links. Like I said, we'll put them in this podcast description and in the notes. Thank you, Jim, again for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
No problem. You guys take care.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.